Lin Dunn, the famous general manager of the Indiana Fever, has had enough. She is a seasoned veteran of the game who has seen both the highs and lows of professional basketball. But what she's seeing today has pushed her to the edge, leading her to speak out with genuine conviction. What triggered the event? None other than the unrelenting and some say deadly roughness that Caitlyn Clark has faced on the court. This isn't just another day in the WNBA. It's a crisis in the making, and Dunn is prepared to act.
Amazing. It's amazing. I cannot believe that many people are here just for the draft party. It's such an exciting moment. We're thrilled to select with the first pick Caitlyn Clark.
But what's really going on here? Is this simply another chapter in the WNBA's illustrious history? Or is something more important emerging before our eyes? Let's go into the facts, unpack the difficulties, and find out why Lin Dunn, one of the most respected personalities in women's basketball, is suddenly demanding quick action. Lin Dunn's interest extends beyond basketball to the fundamental fabric of the game. Dunn's perspective is unique as the Indiana Fever's general manager. She's seen the league's evolution throughout the years, including the growth of players, the intensity of rivalries, and the rising fan base. But what she sees today is different, and it troubles her terribly.
You're changing it, you're helping us change it, so seriously, from the bottom of my heart, from all of us, we thank you so much, and I just feel really grateful to be here.
Dunn is especially concerned with Caitlyn Clark's supporters' conduct and the more violent techniques employed against her on the court. It's one thing to play rough. Basketball, after all, is a contact sport. But when does toughness become dangerous? That is the question Dunn is asking, and it has sparked a passionate discussion within the WNBA community. Caitlyn Clark, with her evident skill and compelling charisma, has emerged as the league's lightning rod. Her supporters are fervent, her opponents are tenacious, and the result is a level of ferocity that is making headlines throughout the sport. Dunn is frustrated not just with the physical play, but also with how the game is developing, or maybe devolving, in reaction to the demands that come with Clark's ascension.
From the logo.
Caitlyn Clark's influence in the WNBA cannot be emphasized enough. She's more than simply another player. She's a sensation. Clark is creating waves on the floor, turning heads, and pushing opponents to reconsider their strategy. He averages 16.3 points, 6 assists, and 4.9 rebounds per game. But what's occurring off the field is absolutely astounding. Clark's presence has directly contributed to an increase in WNBA attendance and fan engagement. In Los Angeles, 19,033 people have come to witness her performance. In Washington, the attendance was even higher. 20,333 people packed the arena to see Caitlyn Clark perform. These metrics are more than just numbers. They reflect the WNBA's burgeoning popularity, which is propelled in large part by Clark's spectacular performances.
I'm very grateful starting and playing in front of absolutely no one during COVID, and then obviously my sophomore year we had good crowds, the curtains were down a lot of the games, and now...
However, all of this prosperity has brought along a new set of obstacles. As Clark continues to dominate, she becomes a target. The brutality aimed against her is rising, and it's more than simply difficult defense. It's about survival. Opponents are pushing the envelope, testing the limits, and in some instances, crossing the line. That's where the real issue is. The WNBA has always distinguished itself by its physicality. However, there is a distinction between playing hard and dirty, and that line is getting more blurred. Caitlyn Clark is at the heart of this argument, since she encounters physical obstacles on the court that some feel exceed what is appropriate in competitive play.
Seattle, and all of a sudden, we're pretty close. This has been as close as it's been all second quarter long, 44.
Remember when Clark was hip-checked by Chennedy Carter, or when she clashed with Angel Reese? These aren't isolated events. They're part of a wider trend that's forming throughout the league. Clark has spoken out about the treatment she is undergoing, stating, "I feel like I'm getting hammered." For a player of her level to raise such worries is significant. It indicates that something has to change. The roughness thrown toward Clark is more than simply strong defense. It's about delivering a message. But what's the message? Is Clark too good, oppressive, or threatening? Or is it something more sinister, referring to larger flaws inside the league? These are the questions posed by fans, players, coaches, and experts alike. As the physicality goes up, so too does the discussion. Where do we distinguish between competitive play and harmful behavior? What constitutes appropriate on-court behavior, and when does it become excessive? These are the problems that are now front of mind in the WNBA, and Lin Dunn is determined to solve them. Caitlyn Clark's handling of the court has elicited different reactions. On one side, some supporters are upset, believing that Clark is being unjustly targeted and that the brutality she is experiencing is not simply part of the game, but a purposeful effort to bring her down. These supporters are loud, passionate, and demanding change.
An accidental collision with Caitlyn Clark. You see it right there. Personnel crowds around her. She ended up being okay. She said she was fine. She just got the wind knocked out of her a little bit.
On the other hand, others contend that this is just basketball. It's a rigorous sport, and if you want to be the greatest, you must be able to manage the physical demands. For some followers, Clark's situation is merely part of the game, a necessary hurdle that she must face if she wants to compete at the greatest level. But it's not only the fans who are split. The league itself is debating how to react. WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert recognized the problem, saying, "I believe everyone is watching Caitlyn, so their emphasis is solely on Caitlyn. But when compared to other games with additional players, it is a physical game." Engelbert's remarks underline the bigger context. The WNBA is a rough league, and Caitlyn Clark isn't the only one dealing with these issues.
Yeah, I mean, her first month in W, obviously, aside from the numbers, the viewership, the attendance, the way that she plays the game, you know, she's ultra competitive. Her ability to really stretch the floor and find her teammates. Obviously, there is a learning curve. And
however, Engelbert's words pose serious considerations. Is Clark's physicality merely a facet of the game, or is there more to it? Is the league doing enough to safeguard its players, particularly its superstars? What message is being sent to the next generation of players and fans? These are the concerns that are rising to the forefront as the discussion around Caitlyn Clark and the physicality of the WNBA heats up. So what precisely does Lin Dunn propose? Dunn's strong words make it plain that she is unwilling to sit back and watch while the game she loves is imperiled. She is asking for quick action, urging the league to intervene and address the problem of physicality before it is too late.
About 20 seconds, maybe 15.
Why that long?
I don't know. They made me pause. You know the league. You gotta follow the directions.
Dunn isn't just speaking out, she's taking action. She allegedly submitted game videos to the league headquarters, underlining the risky play that she feels is endangering players like Caitlyn Clark. Dunn's commitment is palpable. She's not just talking the talk, she's living the walk, leading by example for everyone participating in the game. But what fueled Lin Dunn's ardent determination? Why is she so adamant about cleaning up the game, safeguarding the athletes, and maintaining the WNBA's integrity? The answer is rooted in her profound passion for the game, dedication to the league, and conviction that basketball can and should be better. Dunn's call to action applies to the whole league, not just one player or club. She's making a strong message about the significance of safeguarding star players, establishing a high standard for the whole WNBA, and keeping the game fair and safe for everyone on the field.
One of our biggest wins of the season so far was our first win at Phoenix. I think that really kind of boosted us into how we're playing basketball right now.
As the WNBA expands and evolves, physicality will remain a major concern. The league is at a crossroads, and the choices made over the next several months and years will significantly influence its future. If the league can find a way to combine toughness and safety, protecting its players while maintaining the game's purity, it has the potential to reach new heights. The WNBA has the potential to serve as a model for other sports leagues, demonstrating that it is feasible to play intense competitive basketball without jeopardizing player safety.
Left to go. How important was it for this group to come out after the break and get the win?
Yeah, it's huge. I think it sets the tone of where we want to be the rest of the season. So to grind this one out and get it done, I think is just a step in the right direction. But it's one at a time, and we have another big one Sunday.
However, if the league fails to handle the problem, the ramifications might be severe. Players might continue to get injured, the game's quality could deteriorate, and spectators could lose faith. The WNBA risks losing its momentum and its status as one of the most entertaining and dynamic sports leagues in the world. The WNBA's future is in the balance, and choices taken now will define the league for years to come. It is a watershed moment in the league's history, and players, fans, and the media will all be paying careful attention. To summarize, Lin Dunn's call to action is about more than simply Caitlyn Clark. It is about the future of the WNBA. The league is at a watershed moment as it deals with the problem of physicality and its influence on the game.
Yeah, I think just when I can get going early, that's when I really settle into the game and feel comfortable. And I think my third quarter wasn't great, but yeah, I think there's times where we would have crumbled, but we just kept battling and fighting, and I thought it was a really good win for us.
Dunn's drive to safeguard the players, maintain the league's integrity, and guarantee that the WNBA stays fair and safe reflects her passion for the sport. She is not just speaking out, she is also acting, setting an example for everyone participating in the game. The fight about Caitlyn Clark and the WNBA has not ended, and it will continue to define the league's future. However, one thing is certain, the WNBA is a league worth fighting for, and it can achieve unprecedented heights.
Outside these 12, but know that Caitlyn is going to have a bright future with USA Basketball, and I think, the points that she made, she's even more motivated, more hungry, and just knowing that her time is going to come.
As fans, players, and the media continue to weigh in on this topic, the WNBA's future will be molded by the choices made today. It is a watershed event in the league's history, with long-term implications for the game. So where are we going from here? The solution is up to the league, the players, and the fans. It is up to all of us to keep the WNBA a league we can be proud of, one that is tough, competitive, and fair. And with leaders like Lin Dunn at the forefront, there's little question the WNBA is in capable hands.
Play at the Stanford University 2022. And this is Caitlyn Clark introducing herself. She has been a leader for US team.
Caitlyn Clark's name has a strong resonance in the basketball community. Clark, a prodigy whose abilities have wowed fans and commentators alike, was left off Team USA's Olympic selection, sparking significant outrage. This piece dives at Clark's rise, her Olympic snub, the resulting controversy, and Team USA's eventual admission of regret.
Caitlyn Clark, even though we have a day to celebrate with so many amazing ladies making the roster, what have you made of the conversation about Caitlyn being left off?
It speaks really highly to the player that Caitlyn is, to the superstar.
Caitlyn Clark's basketball experience has been nothing short of spectacular. She distinguished herself from her contemporaries with a rare combination of talent, toughness, and basketball IQ beginning in high school. Her transition to collegiate basketball went well, and she quickly became a standout at the University of Iowa. Clark's ability to score, facilitate, and dominate the game helped her become one of the most talked about athletes in the NCAA.
Has become the new face of women's basketball. Clark breaking records tonight, becoming the all-time leading scorer in Big Ten history, inspiring a new generation of aspiring women's basketball players from Hinsdale Central.
Clark's early years were a forerunner to her later success. She grew up in West Des Moines, Iowa, with a loving family who saw her promise from an early age. Her father, Brent Clark, and older brother Blake played an important role in developing her interest in the game. By the time she reached high school, she had caught the attention of college scouts.
Caitlyn Clark has become a national phenom, and some fans say they went the extra mile just to watch her play here. ABC 7's Kate Kogirin spoke with excited ticket holders at Welsh Ryan Arena.
The fan fever was high.
Clark was clearly the dominant student at Dowling Catholic High School. She guided her team to several state titles, breaking various records in the process. Her high school career was distinguished for her scoring abilities, court vision, and leadership skills. These characteristics garnered her a 5-star recruit ranking and offers from elite basketball teams nationwide.
Knock in the 3-ball as well. Kenna Warnock, I've said this time and time again, I think she's one of the more underrated players in the Big Ten, and there's Clark's first bucket. Saw it with 34 points.
Clark decided to stay close to home and enrolled at the University of Iowa. Her decision was inspired by the possibility of playing for coach Lisa Bluter, who has a track record of creating outstanding athletes. Clark made an immediate impression during her first year. She led the nation in scoring and was named the Big Ten Freshman of the Year. Her performances were more than simply sheer stats. They included game-winning shots, clutch efforts, and a maturity beyond her years.
2-on-1 break here for Iowa. Caitlyn Clark to Marshall for 2.
The blink of an eye, Caitlyn Clark brings Iowa within 1. Look at this. Carissa McLaughlin blocked by Clark, out of bounds. Purdue ball.
With the Olympics coming, many assumed Clark would be a certainty for Team USA. Her performances were constantly outstanding, and her ability to flourish on the international stage appeared unquestionable. However, when the roster was revealed, Clark's name was glaringly absent.
With such an ease, it's almost like she's a musician when she's playing with poetry like that.
More Parks takes the contact, you can count it.
See more of Caitlyn Clark taking it to the bucket. She didn't like the fact that she was whistled for that charge.
This choice confused many fans and pundits, sparking a surge of conjecture and debate. For any athlete, representing their country in the Olympics is a pinnacle achievement. Caitlyn Clark's dream appeared within reach, given her quick rise in the basketball world. The journey to the Olympics entails intense training, national team camps, and sustained top-level performance. Clark's journey featured great college performances in early WNBA games.
Honestly, no disappointment. Like, I think it just gives you something to work for. You know, that's a dream. You know, hopefully one day I can be there, and I think it's just a little more motivation. You remember that. And
as Clark's star grew, so did expectations. Fans and commentators both regarded her as the future of women's basketball. Her ability to score from wherever on the floor, combined with her playmaking abilities, made her a standout player. The possibility of witnessing her compete against the world's best at the Olympics sparked excitement and anticipation.
Clark certainly sounds genuine there. Maybe there's a hint of diplomacy as well. Here, Indiana coach says Clark told her, quote, "They awakened a monster." Our contributor Christine Brennan has been tracking this story for weeks. She wrote in her,
Clark's achievements speak much about her talents. She led the NCAA in scoring, displayed an incredible ability to make clutch plays, and matured beyond her years on the floor. Her ability to shoot and pass made her a nightmare for opposing defenses. Despite her great stats and highlight reel moments, Team USA chose to keep her off the squad, a decision that would later be highly criticized.
Curtains were down a lot of the games, and now it's impossible to get a ticket to get in the door to our games. So, yeah. I think the people that have made it the most special, obviously my teammates, my coaches, but it isn't what it is without all of you, so seriously.
Record-breaking performances characterized Clark's undergraduate career. She became the first player in NCAA history to have consecutive triple-doubles of at least 30 points. Her scoring numbers were consistently among the nation's best, and she led her team in assists and steals. These statistics were more than just numbers. They demonstrated her all-around game and ability to influence all aspects of the game. One of Clark's distinguishing characteristics is her capacity to perform in critical situations. Whether it was hitting game-winning baskets or making crucial plays in high-pressure circumstances, she continually delivered when it counted the most. Her leadership on and off the court was clear, as she frequently assumed the position of a vocal leader, mentoring her colleagues and setting an example with her work ethic and drive. Clark's absence from the Olympic team remains a source of dispute. Some argued that her rookie position in the WNBA played a role, while others attributed it to her absence from training camp. ESPN commentators and basketball fans debated the issue extensively, with many expressing shock and dismay. The selection process for Team USA is rigorous, with input from coaches, former players, and basketball experts. It entails assessing players' performance, fit within the team chemistry, and capacity to adjust to international competition. The decision to omit Clark, despite her evident aptitude, prompted concerns about the criteria utilized and whether other factors influenced the decision. Team USA officials issued remarks attempting to justify their actions. They mentioned considerations such as the need for more experienced players and the need for teamwork. However, these answers did little to soothe the outrage of fans and pundits who felt Clark's talent and potential justified her admission. ESPN's coverage of Clark's Olympic snub featured comments from a variety of pundits. Some backed the decision, given her lack of experience, while others fiercely opposed it, citing historical examples of rookies making the Olympic team. Analysts such as Paul Pierce and Skip Bayless pointed out that other famous players such as Diana Taurasi and Candace Parker made the Olympic squad as rookies, prompting questions about why Clark was treated differently. The ESPN debate offered a variety of opinions. Some commentators claimed that Clark's absence represented a missed chance for Team USA to capitalize on her growing popularity and marketability. Others emphasized the potential benefits of having a young star like Clark on the squad, both for her growth and for the club's success. The debates frequently grew heated, reflecting the emotion and intensity surrounding this topic. The similarities to other rookies who made the Olympic team were especially noticeable. Analysts pointed out that players like Rebecca Lobo, Diana Taurasi, and Candace Parker were included despite being in positions similar to Clark's. These examples underlined the irregularity in the selection process, fueling conjecture about further reasons for Clark's rejection. Clark's omission from the Olympic team sparked a firestorm of anger. Speculations about political motivations, team chemistry, and even potential jealousy from other players were widespread. The idea that Clark's popularity and burgeoning celebrity status may have offended some people was a recurring subject in conversations. Some speculated that her absence was intended to prevent any problems in team harmony or hierarchy. One of the most hotly debated ideas was that Clark's exclusion was politically motivated. Some argued that her growing prominence and popularity threatened the established structure within Team USA. There were speculations that her aggressive style and on-court approach may have clashed with other key players or coaches, prompting the decision to keep her off the roster. The selection process for Team USA is rigorous, with input from coaches, former players, and basketball experts. It entails assessing players' performance, fit within the team chemistry, and capacity to adjust to international competition. The decision to omit Clark, despite her evident aptitude, prompted concerns about the criteria utilized and whether other factors influenced the decision. Team USA officials issued remarks attempting to justify their actions. They mentioned considerations such as the need for more experienced players and the need for teamwork. However, these answers did little to soothe the outrage of fans and pundits who felt Clark's talent and potential justified her admission. ESPN's coverage of Clark's Olympic snub featured comments from a variety of pundits. Some backed the decision, given her lack of experience, while others fiercely opposed it, citing historical examples of rookies making the Olympic team. Analysts such as Paul Pierce and Skip Bayless pointed out that other famous players, such as Diana Taurasi and Candace Parker, made the Olympic squad as rookies, prompting questions about why Clark was treated differently. The ESPN debate offered a variety of opinions. Some commentators claimed that Clark's absence represented a missed chance for Team USA to capitalize on her growing popularity and marketability. Others emphasized the potential benefits of having a young star like Clark on the squad, both for her growth and for the club's success. The debates frequently grew heated, reflecting the emotion and intensity surrounding this topic. The similarities to other rookies who made the Olympic team were especially noticeable. Analysts pointed out that players like Rebecca Lobo, Diana Taurasi, and Candace Parker were included, despite being in positions similar to Clark's. These examples underlined the irregularity in the selection process, fueling conjecture about further reasons for Clark's rejection. Clark's omission from the Olympic team sparked a firestorm of anger. Speculations about political motivations, team chemistry, and even potential jealousy from other players were widespread. The idea that Clark's popularity and burgeoning celebrity status may have offended some people was a recurring subject in conversations. Some speculated that her absence was intended to prevent any problems in team harmony or hierarchy. One of the most hotly debated ideas was that Clark's exclusion was politically motivated. Some argued that her growing prominence and popularity threatened the established structure within Team USA. There were speculations that her aggressive style and on-court approach may have clashed with other key players or coaches, prompting the decision to keep her off the roster. The selection procedure relies heavily on team chemistry. The addition of a high-profile rookie like Clark has the potential to upset the team's existing roles and relationships. Some suggested that there was anxiety about how veteran players would react to her presence and how it would affect team unity. This hypothesis proposed that the decision was taken to maintain harmony rather than based only on performance. Another theory focused on jealousy and rivalry. Clark's fast ascension and the media attention she received may have fueled anger among other players. The possibility that her success and popularity will overshadow other team members was discussed. This hypothesis argued that her exclusion was a means to manage egos and avoid internal problems. In a stunning change of events, members of Team USA's selection committee and coaching staff later expressed regret for not including Clark. Coach Dawn Staley agreed that, given Clark's current form and influence, she would have been a strong contender if the process occurred again. This admission, although satisfying Clark's admirers, also highlighted a squad squandered chance to display one of the most brilliant players on the world scene. The admission of sorrow occurred through public comments and interviews. Coach Staley and other committee members praised Clark's performance and admitted that she would have been a good candidate for the team had the choice been made later. These words were interpreted as vindication for Clark and her admirers, who had contended that her aptitude and promise were unquestionable. The public admission of regret had a huge impact on Clark's career. It cemented her reputation as one of basketball's brightest young stars and demonstrated the respect she garnered from top coaches and officials. Clark utilized the accolades from Team USA as motivation to keep developing and proving her naysayers wrong. Caitlyn Clark's Olympic snub is a complex story of talent, controversy, and ultimately remorse. As Team USA considers its decision, the basketball world wonders what may have been. Clark's rejection from the Olympic team may have denied fans the opportunity to watch her talent on the biggest stage. Caitlyn Clark has suddenly emerged as a household figure in the world of women's basketball, which its male counterpart has long overshadowed. Clark's journey from Iowa's courts to the bright lights of the WNBA is nothing short of incredible, encapsulating the promise and potential that so many young athletes strive for. Clark had an extraordinary ability to dominate the basketball floor from a young age, displaying talents that defied her age and experience.
Leads in points, rebounds, and assists. Clark from the logo and knocks it down.
Clark was born and reared in West Des Moines, Iowa, and her skill was obvious from the time she picked up a hoop. Her high school experience at Dowling Catholic High School was nothing short of remarkable, as she constantly surpassed her contemporaries, establishing records and receiving awards along the way. By the time she was a senior, she was regarded as one of the best recruiters in the country, with universities competing for her commitment.
Another feed inside, and Stuckey finishes!
Clark finally decided to attend the University of Iowa, which proved to be a game changer for both her and the program. From her first game as a Hawkeye, it was evident that she was unique. Her ability to score from any position on the floor, along with her remarkable court vision and basketball IQ, made her a formidable opponent. Clark could do it all, from draining deep threes to threading the needle with precision passes. Her achievements were so spectacular that they drew national notice, raising Iowa's women's basketball team to unprecedented heights.
Caitlyn Clark, Dowling Catholic star guard, the nation's #4 prospect in the 2020 class, and played for Team USA under-17 team last summer. That Caitlyn Clark.
Clark's college experience was a highlight reel from beginning to end. She broke multiple NCAA marks, including being the quickest player in history to score 1,000 career points. Her scoring prowess was only equaled by her ability to help her teammates improve, as she often provided assists that led to easy baskets. Her on-court leadership was obvious, as she led the Hawkeyes to several NCAA tournament berths and helped improve the national reputation of women's basketball.
The Maroons win. That's second best all-time in the state of Iowa for the 5-on-5 girls basketball era. The Dowling record. To do so, she hit 13 threes. That is a new state record.
But Clark's path to prominence was not without its difficulties. Despite her exceptional skill and accomplishment, she received criticism and scrutiny from certain members of the basketball community. Some questioned if her style of play, which often included long-range shots from well beyond the three-point line, was sustainable at the professional level. Others questioned her ability to make the move from college to the WNBA, where competition is fiercer and defenses are more advanced.
I didn't realize how many I had, but I don't know, it must have just kept building up and stuff. I mean, I never would have imagined I would score 60 points, so I don't know.
To comprehend the importance of Caitlyn Clark's ascension, it's necessary to recognize the achievements of people who came before her, pioneers such as Sheryl Swoopes. Swoopes is a big name in women's basketball, one of the most famous characters in the sport's history. She was instrumental in propelling women's basketball to new heights and setting the way for future generations of athletes.
Tech only averages 15 turnovers a game.
And Swoopes gets it right back for the Raiders.
Swoopes started her basketball career in Brownfield, Texas, where she immediately established herself as a top player in high school. She went on to play collegiate basketball at Texas Tech University, where she helped the Lady Raiders win a national title in 1993. Her effort in the championship game, in which she scored 47 points, is one of the most memorable in NCAA history.
13-10 Buckeye lead. Swoopes drives the baseline, unimpeded.
Swoopes was the first player to join the WNBA when it was formed in 1996, kicking off a legendary professional career. Swoopes accomplished about everything a player could hope for throughout her career, including 3 WNBA MVP awards, 4 WNBA championships with the Houston Comets, and 6 All-Star appearances. Her defensive brilliance earned her the moniker, the female Michael Jordan, and she was noted for her ability to shut down the other team's top players while still scoring on offense. Swoopes' influence on the game went beyond her on-court performance. She was also a pioneer off the court, becoming one of the first well-known athletes to come out as homosexual. Her fearlessness in living her truth, along with her domination on the court, established her as a role model for innumerable young athletes. Swoopes' legacy is not just that of a brilliant basketball player, but also of a trailblazer who changed the paradigm of women's sports and inspired a new generation of athletes. Like every pioneer, Swoopes had hurdles along the way. Her outspoken personality and desire to discuss challenging subjects have sometimes placed her in conflict with others in the basketball world. Swoopes has always been open to expressing her thoughts, whether regarding the condition of the game, player treatment, or the WNBA's future orientation. Spokenness has made her a beloved and sometimes contentious figure in the sport.
Basketball coach Sheryl Swoopes, she's under investigation, accused of mistreating players.
An ESPN reporter recently reported on a growing conflict between Sheryl Swoopes and Caitlyn Clark. The inquiry looked into Swoopes' statements, which were seen as disparaging of Clark's swift climb to popularity and the attention she has received in the basketball world. The reporter emphasized the divide between the old school of women's basketball, represented by icons like Swoopes, and the current crop of players such as Clark, who are changing the game with their style and attitude. According to the article, Swoopes voiced worries about Clark's rapid rise to superstar status, wondering if it was fair to other players who had been in the league longer and had not gotten the same degree of attention. The statement sparked heated controversy in the basketball world, with some agreeing with Swoopes' point of view and others seeing them as needless criticism of a young girl who is merely trying her hardest to achieve. The ESPN study also addressed the larger problem of how women's basketball is presented in the media. It implied that there might be underlying prejudices at work in how particular players are praised or critiqued, and that these biases could lead to splits within the sport. The revelation stirred debate on social media and among sports pundits, with views split on whether Swoopes' statements were acceptable or reflected an outmoded worldview. The friction between Sheryl Swoopes and Caitlyn Clark may be seen as a microcosm of the larger issues at work in women's basketball today. On the one hand, there is a profound admiration for the game's pioneers, the legends who struggled for recognition and contributed to the WNBA's current status. On the other side, there is unmistakable enthusiasm about the current generation of players who are pushing the limits of what is possible on the court and injecting new vitality into the sport.
Well, I mean, if you want to talk about bullies, we can talk about every time Caitlyn has the ball, she pushes off.
Caitlyn Clark, with her aggressive shooting, remarkable range, and playmaking abilities, personifies this new breed of brilliance. She has instilled a level of enthusiasm in women's basketball that has yet to be seen in years, attracting new fans and boosting viewership. Her ability to score from wherever on the floor, clutch performances, and charming demeanor have helped her become a household name, even among people who have not previously watched women's basketball extensively. However, with increasing popularity comes criticism. As Clark's popularity has grown, so has the number of detractors who wonder whether she merits the attention she is getting. Some of this criticism, according to the ESPN study, may stem from deeper concerns such as racism, sexuality, and the sport's developing culture. The fact that Clark is a white, straight woman in a league dominated by black LGBTQ+ players has raised questions about whether her success is due to her skill or to other reasons.
If it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time that that player set it. If Kelsey Plum set that record in 4 years, well, Caitlyn should have broke that record in 4 years.
Sheryl Swoopes' words, whether meant or not, have fueled the discussion. Swoopes' insight is valuable since he has been through both the highs and lows of a professional basketball career. Her complaints about the game's future and the way some players are pushed are valid, but they also raise issues about how the sport may change while remaining true to its heritage. This struggle between tradition and innovation is common in women's basketball. It is a frequent subject in many sports, as the game's pioneers struggle to adapt to changes brought about by a new generation of players. This friction is especially obvious in the WNBA, since the league is still in the early stages of establishing its identity. The WNBA, like many other sports leagues, leagues will face the challenge of balancing reverence for the past with the desire to embrace the future as it expands.
You over other players coming in, right? So people say, dang, like he or she's killing them, but you have a 25-year-old playing against a 20-year-old.
Caitlyn Clark's effect on the WNBA is evident. Since entering the league, she has continued to demonstrate the abilities that made her a collegiate standout, but she has also had to adapt to the demands of professional play. The competition is fiercer, the defenses are more complex, and the pressure to perform is relentless. Despite these hurdles, Clark has demonstrated that she belongs in the WNBA, putting up remarkable statistics and establishing herself as one of the league's most promising young players. Clark's involvement in the WNBA has also raised the league's profile. Her games have had increased viewership, and her highlights have been extensively broadcast on sports networks and other media platforms. This increased prominence is critical for the WNBA, which has often failed to capture the same degree of attention as the NBA. Clark's ability to fascinate viewers with her play has the potential to attract new followers and help the league expand.
Caitlyn Clark behind the back, on the spin, to the hole, and one.
To summarize, the feud between Sheryl Swoopes and Caitlyn Clark is about more than just two people. It is about the trajectory of women's basketball in general. It reflects the difficulties and possibilities associated with development and change. As the WNBA evolves, it will be up to all those engaged in the sport to find a way to commemorate the past while also embracing the future, ensuring that women's basketball thrives for future generations.